Hyoma Kunato suffered a major traumatic experience when he lost his brother and sister at the hands of spirit beings known as Tsukumogami. Tsukumogami are inanimate objects that develop a spirit of their own. Because they have developed a spirit of their own, they form a physical body. The trauma that Hyoma suffered built his hatred for the Tsukumogami. Hyoma comes from a family that puts the spirits in control. They are known as Seinom. Typically, there are Tsukumogami that are not bad, but Hyoma hates all of them. Hyoma works with his grandfather Zohei whenever they are on a mission. His grandfather takes a calm approach to seal the spirits, but Hyoma is not like that. Because of his hatred for the spirits, he uses force to put the spirits in their place. The two go on a mission to seal spirits, and as usual, Hyoma uses force to beat down the spirit before sealing it. Zohei realizes that his grandson is in a dark place and he makes a quick call. When they return home, Zohei condemns Hyoma's way of doing things, but Hyoma insists that his approach is the best. Since he is the future head of the family, Hyoma believes that he knows the right way to do things, but his grandfather lets him know that he is wrong. Zohei doesn't think violence is the way when it comes to the spirit beings. It will be hard to convince Hyoma because he witnessed one of the spirit beings violently eliminate his siblings. When Zohei realizes this fact, he decides to take drastic measures. He has come to the realization that Hyoma will not grow past his trauma unless he does something. Zohei then tells Hyoma about a special family of Tsukumogami living together. They also have a human as their master, and Zohei is familiar with this family. Hyoma is shocked when he hears this. Since Hyoma only sees the spirit beings as evil, Zohei will send Hyoma over to Kyoto to live with the special family. Zohei lets him know the conditions that come with this. He will be banished from spirit hunting if he comes back home early. He has 1 year to live with the spirit beings, and anything aside from that is not accepted. Hyoma has no choice but to pack his things according to his grandpa's wishes. The next morning, he is ready to leave for Kyoto. His grandpa tells him about the special family. The family name is Nagatsuki, and the spirit beings are under a young girl, Botan, who is the same age as Hyoma. Hyoma does as told, and he starts heading to Kyoto to live with this special family. Hyoma arrives at the house and he is welcomed by the caretaker. She is a Tsukumogami and her name is Haori. She is with another spirit being, Kushige. Botan is not around because she is a college student and she is currently in class. However, Botan is leaving school early that day and her family is not aware. Haori is standing at the entrance discussing with Haori when the rest of the family arrives. The girl with pink hair is Kagami, the naughty guy is Suzuri, the cold girl is Yu, and the talkative is Nagi. After the introductions, Haori tells Hyoma about the family and Botan. Hyoma doesn't hide his feelings when he tells them that he hates spirit beings. Hyoma believes that the beings cannot be trusted because they are manipulative and evil. In fact, Hyoma believes that the beings are only using Botan for their own personal gain. This statement obviously trips off the entire family, but only Nagi takes it up, and he demands that Hyoma retract his words. Nagi tries to strike Hyoma, but Hyoma blocks the punch with his luggage. The two jump backwards and maintain a combat pose. Nagi tells the others that he wants to teach Hyoma a lesson, and they all stay back to watch. Nagi transforms his hands into swords, and he tells Hyoma that he is going to go easy on him. Hyoma then promises him the same thing. Nagi comes charging at Hyoma, but Hyoma uses his powers to erase the tip of the swords. This is the power given to the Seinoms by the border spirit, Seinokami. This doesn't stop the fight, but only gives Nagi more motivation to fight. The two go at each other again, but nothing serious. Hori tells her family members that the two are holding back at each other. The fight is ongoing when Yu receives a call that Botan is skipping class. It immediately dawns on them that Botan will almost be at the house. Haori orders her family members to restrain the two fighters before Botan returns. Funny enough, the entire family subconsciously goes after Hyoma alone. Hyoma is knocked to the ground, and just then, Hyoma tries to affirm the fact that Tsukumogami cannot be trusted. Hyoma looks around to see Botan staring at him. The two introduce themselves, and Hyoma passes out. Botan stares at her family, demanding that they explain what they have done to Hyoma. With this, the tale of a girl who loves spirits and a boy who hates them begins. When Hyoma finally wakes up, he sits down to have a conversation with Botan. Hyoma doesn't think Botan has the guts to actually command the spirit beings under her until he sees Nagi hanging from the roof. Botan has strung the guy to serve as a punishment for fighting Hyoma. After this, Hyoma starts pouring out his heart concerning what he thinks of the spirit beings. Hyoma doesn't hold back when he calls them trash names and the fact that they are manipulative. Hyoma then suggests that he take over the spirit beings instead. Hyoma is expecting a positive reply from Botan, but what he gets is a stern and angry-looking girl. Botan angrily stands up, scolding Hyoma for making wrong assumptions about her family. She is obviously offended by this, and she tells Hyoma that he has 3 days to prove that he can work with the family, or he will be sent packing. This is a big problem for Hyoma since he knows that returning home early means he is no longer a Seinom. Botan angrily works out of the room and the others follow. At this point, Hyoma starts getting the idea that the spirit beings are not manipulating Botan. Nagi gets down from where he is hanging from, and he offers Hyoma a chance to work with him. Since this is his criteria for staying, Nagi actually really wants to give the guy a chance. Nagi is stepping out to seal a rogue Tsukumogami, and he wants Hyoma to follow him. Hyoma is shocked to see that Nagi and the other family members are actually cool with sealing their own kind. Nagi accepts that sealing his own kind is a dirty business, but their desire to stay with Botan goes above everything else. Botan is special to the family, and they will always stand by her. The rogue Tsukumogami is doing what he wants when Nagi and Hyoma arrive at the scene. Together, the two take down the spirit being. Hyoma seals the spirit, and they find out that the Tsukumogami originated from a hand towel. After the mission, Nagi reads Hyoma's body language, and he realizes that the boy truly hates the spirit beings. On their way home, Hyoma lets Nagi know how his siblings died. The Tsukumogami who killed his siblings is still alive, but for some reason, he can't seem to get any information on the guy. This is why Hyoma wants to do everything in his power to become the head of the family. To do this, he needs to get along with Botan and her family. Hyoma is ready to put away his ego and work with the family. When Hyoma returns to the house, he puts up a signature post where the family members who are comfortable with him being around are going to drop their signature. Once he is able to get the approval of all the family members before the given 3 days, Hyoma will be allowed to stay. Up next, Hyoma goes out on a mission with Kagami and Suzuri. Back home, Botan is actually worried about him. She actually wants things to work. While on the mission, Hyoma figures out that Suzuri and Kagami are doing everything that humans do. He is kind of irritated by this and the fact that Suzuri likes talking to girls. Hyoma asks them why they do all of this, and the two confess that they might not be humans, but they actually care. They want to know what it feels like to be humans, and when Hyoma hears this, he calms down. He gives his approval, but tells Suzuri to lay off on the way he runs after girls. Once this is settled, the trio gets back to the main mission of the day. Apparently, they are evaluating a Tsukumogami, Yagen, who has shown interest in living with humans. It is their duty to carry out a test to see Yagen is worthy to live with humans. Suzuri sits down with the girl and asks her why she wants to remain in the human world. She confesses that she feels safer in the human world. Yagen is a mortal wheel, and she is somewhat old. After hearing Yagen's reason for staying, Suzuri confirms that she has a good reason to stay. However, they need to do one more thing to make sure that she is actually worthy. Kagami stands in front of Yagen and she uses her power to open a mirror that reveals the truth. Using this mirror, Kagami can see everything that Yagen has done. If she has committed even just one evil deed, she will not be allowed to stay in the human world. Kagami does her thing, and luckily for Yagen, she passes the test. Suzuri then tells Hyoma and Kagami to return to the house while he takes care of the report. Hyoma then mentions not having the Nagatsuki's house phone number. The moment Hyoma mentions this, Yagen gets erratic and she attacks Suzuri. She hits Suzuri so hard that he turns into mist. Hyoma manages to get Kagami out of the way before Yagen can hit her. Apparently, Yagen believes that she is being tricked. Hyoma goes after her and restrains her before she can do anything else. Hyoma is about to seal her when he realizes that Yagen is crying. It turns out that Yagen became erratic when she heard the Nagatsuki name. Since they are known to seal their kind, she doesn't have any reason to trust them. Hyoma holds back on sealing the girl, and thankfully, Suzuri is fine because of the nature of his power. He is able to regenerate, which makes him cool. Since Suzuri is fine and Hyoma saved Kagami, Suzuri doesn't think Yagen has done anything bad. It is normal for the spirits to be wary of the Nagatsuki family, so there is no offense taken. Yagen is then taken away by Suzuri for further evaluation, and with this, the mission comes to an end. At the end of the day, Hyoma has gotten the approval of Suzuri, Nagi, and Kagami. He is making real progress in convincing the family that he can work with them, and he might just pull it off before the end of the 3rd day. It is the 3rd day already, and unknown to the family, a bunch of Tsukumogami are planning to attack them. Since the family is known to seal its own kind, this grieved faction wants to get rid of them, and they are led by a guy named Hikaki. Hyoma is cleaning up in the restroom when Botan enters to thank him for saving Kagami. Hyoma simply replied that he did it because he needed Kagami's approval. The only person left on the list now is Yu. She is going to be the greatest hurdle for Hyoma since she doesn't like Hyoma one bit. Yu is very loyal to Botan, and she doesn't appreciate the way Hyoma treated Botan on the 1st day. To make things worse, Yu and Hyoma will be going on a mission together that day. Hyoma gets to the mission site to find out that Yu has taken care of the rogue Tsukumogami already. She has woven them up and she seals them in Hyoma's presence. Yu lets Hyoma know that she despises him, so he should forget about getting her signature. Yu tells Hyoma that the only he can get her signature is if he takes it by force. Yu arms herself with her weapon, and as she goes after Hyoma, she releases an energy surge that attracts the attention of Hikaki and his squad. Nagi, Suzuri, and Kagami are also in town, and they all catch wind of this too. Hyoma has no intention of fighting Yu, and he tries running away, but Yu ain't going to let that happen. Yu manages to corner Hyoma at some point, and she tells the guy to stop running. She wants them to fight since he really hates Tsukumogami. However, Hyoma tells the girl that he is trying to change that about himself. Yu attacks Hyoma with a bunch of hairpins, but he still manages to survive the ordeal. Hyoma decides not to move, so he can give Yu the satisfaction that she wants. Hyoma tells Yu that he is not going to fight back because he has now come to the realization that something is different about the family. Meanwhile, Hari is giving Zohei updates about his grandson. She lets him know about his progress and the fact that he will get to stay with them if he is able to pass his test. Back to Yu and Hyoma. Yu leaves Hyoma to stand up when she realizes that Hyoma is not ready to fight her. Hyoma then tells Yu that he is aware of why she is so loyal to Botan. Hyoma hits the nut in the head and reveals that he can clearly see that Yu is in love with Botan. Yu's hand starts to shake because this is true, but in an attempt to deny this fact, she throws one of her hairpins into Hyoma. Hyoma is stuck in the wall, and he gets woven up. Just then, Hikaki and his men show up, but luckily, Nagi and the team also arrive on the scene. Nagi believes that the crooks are after Yu because she will not stop pissing people off. However, they soon realize that Hikaki is nothing but a douchebag. Since Hyoma is currently holed up in the woven hair, Hikaki believes that he can't defend himself. He notices that Nagi and his team actually care about the human, and he orders his men to go after the guy. An all-out battle ensues between the Nagatsuki family and Hikaki's men. Yu faces off with the big guy while Nagi is stuck with Hikaki. Kagami, on the other hand, is inside a building, providing awareness for the rest of the team. As the fight proceeds, Nagi asks Hikaki if he and his team has killed people before. Hikaki smiles like a maniac as he reveals how his team has killed countless humans. The moment he mentions this, all of them feel a surge of power come from the woven hair. It turns out to be Hyoma, who is trying to break free. This is pretty scary because no one should be able to escape Yu's trap. Hyoma gradually extracts himself while wearing a scary face. Hikaki realizes that Hyoma is pretty dangerous, and he orders his men to go after him before he can get free. The Tsukumogami that first reaches Hyoma is the first to know what Hyoma is capable of. Hyoma slices the guy into two without much effort. Hyoma seems to be excited about the fact that Hikaki has killed people before because now he has a good reason to actually kill the guy. Hyoma easily takes down the rest of Hikaki's men before going after Hikaki himself. Hyoma knocks Hikaki to the ground, and Hikaki then comments on the fact that is written over Hyoma's face that he actually enjoys killing Tsukumogami. Hikaki tries to put them together in the same boat, and instead of denying this, Hyoma agrees. He tells Hikaki that he will never stop killing evil spirit beings like him. Without hesitation, Hyoma unalives the guy. Haori and Kushige are watching this from a distance, and it shows just how much hatred Hyoma has for the spirit beings. However, Haori sees a slight hope of change in Hyoma. She believes that he is the best person to save the family. She is excited that they accepted to take in Hyoma because he is the perfect match for Botan. By the end of the day, Hyoma has managed to get everyone's signature, which means he can now stay at the house. Yu claims to have signed the paper because she was feeling guilty for dragging Hyoma into her mess. Nonetheless, Botan is glad that the guy was able to pull off the feat. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is making a secret arrangement. Once they are done, Botan and Hyoma are summoned to the hall. Since they have agreed that Hyoma is going to stay with them for 1 year, they want to evaluate him too. However, there is a deal that was made by Hiroi and Zohei. Hyoma wants to know what the deal is, and he is shocked when he enters the hall to find out what it is. It turns out that Hyoma is being evaluated to see if he is worthy enough to marry Botan. Botan turns red like a tomato, but Hyoma stands there, trying to find the perfect reaction. The family tells Hyoma that they have always wanted the best man for Botan, and this is why they need to know if Hyoma is worthy or not. It turns out that the entire family originated from one single source, and that is from a gift that was received for a wedding. Since Zohei has agreed to this, Hiroi suggests that Hyoma try an arranged marriage first. Every one of them soon keeps quiet to hear what Hyoma has to say. They are relieved when Hyoma opens his mouth to tell them that he can't make a decision just yet. He also wants to evaluate the family while they are doing the same to him. After saying this, Hyoma leaves the room, claiming that he is going for his usual Wednesday jogs. Hyoma gets outside the house, and this is when he reveals the true reaction that he has been hiding. His face turns totally red, and he seems to be in shock at the offer he just received. Things soon get weird between Hyoma and Botan as the two seem to be avoiding each other. Botan wants to find Hyoma and apologize to him, but she just can't summon the courage to face the guy. Later on, Hyoma learns that Hari and Kushige have left the house for a business trip. Hyoma is talking to Suzuri and Kagami about this when Botan appears in the distance. The two have no choice but to talk to each other at this point. Kagami drags Suzuri away, so the arranged couple can have a moment of privacy. Botan apologizes for how the marriage proposal was thrown to Hyoma, but before she even finishes her statement, Hyoma cuts in, telling the girl that he is not worried. This reply shocks Botan, but she manages to conceal her reaction. She is obviously heartbroken by the reply, but she simply walks away. Once she is gone, Suzuri and Kagami appear from where they are hiding and start to scold Hyoma. They let him know that he has messed up with the way he handled Botan. Hyoma tries telling them that he only spoke the truth, but the two of them know that he could have been a little sensitive about it. Kagami is crying her eyes out like a baby, and to try and resolve things, they suggest that Hayoma follow Botan so he can fix things. On the other hand, Botan is on her way to get groceries, but she could stop thinking about her conversation with Hayoma. Botan wants to act like she doesn't care, but deep down, she does. Botan is speaking to herself when a scary-ass Tsukumogami appears in front of her. The guy's name is Heinrashi, and he is Hikaki's brother. Botan is gripped with fear as she stares into the eyes of the guy standing above her. Meanwhile, Yu and Nagi are on a mission. Luckily for them, they learn from one of the bad guys that Botan is being targeted. The two immediately abandon their mission and start running off to wherever Botan might be. Botan tries to negotiate with Heinrashi, but he is too pissed to listen to anything. Apparently, there is a written rule in the city that forbids them not to touch Botan, but Heinrashi assumes that this is nothing but a mere threat. Botan tries to escape, but Heinrashi is just too fast for her. Botan is about to get seriously hurt when Hayoma shows up on the scene and cuts off Heinrashi's arm. While Hyoma is engaging the big guy, Nagi and Yu also arrive. Heinrashi realizes that he is outnumbered, but there is no room for him to escape. Before he knows what is happening, he is defeated. Nagi thanks Hayoma for saving Botan because she would have been a goner if not for him. Once they have established the fact that Botan is safe, Nagi drags Yu away so that they can finish their mission. After the two have left, Hayoma apologizes to Botan for the way he talks to her. Hayoma then clears the air by telling Botan that she doesn't want her to be worried. Botan is relieved to hear this, and with this brief conversation, the two are able to get rid of the awkward atmosphere between them. Up next, Hyoma decides that putting up protective talismans around the house is going to keep Botan safer. Even though Nagi tries telling him that Yushigi already put a barrier up, Hyoma is not ready to back down. Hyoma even takes it far by putting talismans outside in the street. Meanwhile, Haori, Kushige, and Zohei have come together to meet someone quite important. The trio is meeting a Tsukumogami named Kai, and he is pretty powerful. Whenever he calls, they have no choice but to go. The trio is welcomed in the most violent way, which is how Kai does his thing. Kai attacks them, but Zohei is able to cut off the attack just to impress Kai. Since Kai is locked up in his domain, he gets to summon them for his plaything whenever he feels like it. Kai is old blood, and he is considered to be one of the first Tsukumogami to have appeared. He is so powerful that the Seinomi of his time comes up with the decision to seal him. Kai agrees to be sealed, and with the help of the sealing Tsukumogami named Itsuki, this is made possible. Now Kai and Itsuki are both stuck in this sealed-off domain. Kai then tells the trio the reason why he has summoned them. Apparently he wants to know about Hayoma. He is very serious about what he says, and lets the trio know that they are going to be with him for a couple of days, so whatever freaking reservations or plans that they have is automatically cancelled. Kai already has drinks ready to be served for the trio. Back in town, Yoma is still walking around with talismans. It is starting to dawn on him that there is something special about Botan that he doesn't know yet. Yoma soon finds one of his talismans that has been burnt off. On the other hand, Kai reminds Zohei about the unwritten law that guides Botan. The law states that they must not make use of Botan. Since Zohei has claimed that he sent Yoma to the Nagatsuki family house for training, Kai doesn't want anything else to come into play. This is because there is a certain power that resides inside Botan. This power is desired by both humans and Tsukumogami, but they have come to the agreement not to use the power. Both sides have agreed to leave Botan out of their power struggles, and this is the reason Kai is warning the trio. Yoma analyzes the burnt talisman and he realizes that a powerful presence must have caused it to burn. Not long after this, two guys show up to ask Hyoma if he was the one who put up the talismans. Looking at the two, Hyoma can easily figure out that they are pretty strong. Back in Kai's domain, the trio fall asleep after having too much to drink. However, Hari is just faking her sleep so she can hear whatever Kai says. Kai tells Itsuki to set up a network so he can monitor everything going on about Botan. Facing off with the two guys who have approached him, Hyoma knows that they are going to cause him problems, and he tries to turn the situation around. He lies to the two that he is not the one they are looking for. Hyoma claims that he is from the government office, but just as he is about to walk away, the white-haired comes after him. Hyoma is able to react fast, and he quickly places a seal on the big guy, leaving him to handle the white-haired. Hyoma tries landing a blow on the guy, but to his surprise, he dodges it. To make matters worse, the big guy has managed to break the seal. Hyoma is punched really hard, which knocks him back. He realizes at this point that he is in deep shit. Meanwhile, Yu is looking for the guy, and when she spots one of Hyoma's talismans, she realizes that the guy is in trouble. Hyoma is getting beat up under a bridge, and he is pretty powerless against the two. He can't seal the big guy since he has layers of protection around him. They are questioning Hyoma so as to know his relationship with Botan and the Nagatsuki family. Hyoma tries telling the two that he doesn't have any ulterior motive as to why he joined the Nagatsuki family, but they just would not believe him. They even ask him if he is after the power that resides inside of Botan, but little do they know that Hyoma doesn't even know anything about the power. When Hyoma realizes that the two are not going to back off, he decides to get serious. He knocks back the white-haired and he deals a huge damage to the other guy's arm. Hyoma arms himself with the Seinome weapon, but before things can escalate further, Yu shows up. Yu tells the two weird guys that Hyoma only came to them for training and nothing more. Yu tells the white-haired to back off, and she calls him by his name, Aogi. Since Hyoma is a guest in their family, he is off limits. Aogi finally realizes that there is nothing for him to learn, and he leaves with his comrade. After he is gone, Yu tells Hyoma that the two guys, Aogi and Uchiki, are investigators. In a way, they are just doing their job, but Yu wonders who could have hired them. Aogi leaves the scene but gives Hyoma a warning that there are lots of eyes watching him, so he should be careful. If there is one thing that Hyoma has learned, it is that there is more to Botan than he knows. This has increased his curiosity level, and he wants to know more about the girl. Up next, Hari comes up with a funny idea to show Hyoma what he needs to learn about Botan. Since Botan will be going to school, Hari and Hyoma are to follow her. Botan has a report to submit by 4 p.m., and Hari thinks following Botan will be the best way to show Hyoma all he seems to be confused about. Hari dresses up like Hyoma's girlfriend to make it even more believable. Meanwhile, Kushige is still stuck with Kai in his domain. He seems to be enjoying Kushige's company more. The two keep following Botan while they maintain their distance. Hari then tells Hyoma to concentrate and feel what is in his surroundings. Hyoma does this, and he is shocked to see that the entire spirit presence in the area is focused on Botan. It basically looks like she is a spirit magnet. Hyoma gets scared and tries to run after Botan, but Hari stops him, assuring him that Botan is safe. Hari lets Hyoma know that the spirits are not going to harm her. In fact, Botan knows that eyes are all over her, but she doesn't care. Botan has accepted this as her daily life, and she is just living in it now. To learn more about Botan, Hari sits Hyoma down and explains to him the concept of Tsukumogami. Apparently, beings who turn inanimate objects into Tsukumogami are called Marabito. Marabito are basically divine spirits, but they are mostly associated with inanimate objects. However, in Botan's case, a Marabito dwells in her, which basically means she is housing a divine being. This is the reason Botan is precious and why everyone wants her. This is also the same reason why the unwritten law came to be. To avoid an all-out war breaking out between humans and Tsukumogami, Botan will remain neutral. Even when Botan was younger, she didn't have friends because of the strange aura around her. It somehow pushes away whoever tries to get close to the girl. Some find her creepy, while others just do not want to be around Botan. However, Haori and her family have been doing everything they can to show Botan what love is. With their help, Botan became confident to come out in public and act just like regular kids do. Haori and her family have done everything for Botan, and to be sincere, they have no ulterior motive. All they have done for the girl is because they love her. After telling Hyoma everything that he needs to know, Haori asks him if he will be returning to his grandfather, but Hyoma says no. With everything that he just heard, Hyoma's zeal to protect the girl has actually increased. Haori is glad to hear this, and unknown to them, Kagami is also hiding beside them. She comes out of hiding when she hears Hyoma's declaration. The two are so joyous because of this, and they have even come to the conclusion that Hyoma wants to marry Botan, which is why he is hell-bent on protecting her. Hyoma is still trying to call them back to reality when Botan herself shows up. Her presence shocks the trio because they are not expecting her to be back so soon. Botan tells them that she turned in her write-up and left school so early. Haori manages to cook up a lie that the trio is having a get-together, which is why they are outside. While Haori is discussing with Botan, Kagami lets Hyoma know how much Botan has suffered. She considers the girl a very strong person who is deeply wounded. On their way home, Haori lets Botan know that she has told Hyoma about her past. Botan is scared that this is going to mess things up, but instead, Hyoma lets the girl know that he is proud of her. This assurance from Hyoma is enough to make Botan really happy, and the group all come together for a warm hug. Soon afterward, Hyoma and Botan step out of the house on a little winter trip. While they are gone, Aogi pays a visit to the house. He is there because Suzuri invited him so he can ask him some questions. Kagama doesn't like their visitor that much, and she shows this by serving the guy a cup of tea that looks really weird. Getting into the main topic, Aogi tells Suzuri what he wants to know. Suzuri is curious to know if there is any problem on the street concerning the family. Aogi lets him know that the Sogenbi faction, which consists of 3 Tsukumogami, might be a problem in the future. This trio is worried about the arrangement between the Kunato and Botan's family. However, things remain calm as it is just yet. After telling Suzuri everything that he has at his disposal, the guy leaves. Nagi and Kagami heave a sigh of relief because they just cannot stand the guy. On the other hand, Aogi is wary about the fact that everyone wants to know about Hyoma. He doesn't know what all the parties want with the guy, but with the little experience that he has, he knows Hyoma is not going to have a peaceful life as it is. Later on, Hyoma receives a formal invitation from the Kyoto representative Taigu Katamori. Taigu's position is the same as Hyoma's father, but they both control different towns. Since Hyoma is currently in Kyoto, it is his duty to say hi to the man. Hyoma has not met Taigu before, but with what he has heard, Taigu is a freaking sly who likes to take advantage of people whenever he gets the chance. Hyoma dresses up in a nice suit before heading out to meet the old man. Hyoma arrives at Taigu's place, and it seems the first thing Taigu wants to show Hyoma is the way his family deals with the spirit beings. Taigu's 2 sons and daughter are present at the house too. A spirit being soon shows up, and Taigu urges Hyoma to sit and watch the drama that is about to unfold. The 2 sons engage the spirit being, and in just a matter of seconds, the sons defeat the spirit being with their impressive coordinated attacks. When Taiju asks Hyoma what he thinks of their method, the guy simply replies that it is impressive. Taigu then tells Hyoma that he is willing to give Hyoma his permission to operate in Kyoto, as long as he gives him a report every now and then. In addition to this, it seems the old man is interested in the Nagatsuki household. Taigu talks about his worries concerning Botan and the threat that she possesses. The old man is worried that one day, the power residing inside of Botan will emerge, and she will become the ruler of spirit beings. Because of his paranoia, Taigu believes that it is best if they keep the girl in control. Taigu has always wanted to get close to Botan, but her family is always there to protect her. Now that Hyoma is among them, Taigu believes that he can use the boy. He asks Hyoma if he will be willing to seal Botan for him, but Hyoma wastes no time in giving his answer. He tells the old man that he is not interested in the offer, leaving the old man utterly shocked. Hyoma further adds that he considers himself Botan's protector, which is why the offer is off the table. When Taigu realizes that Hyoma is adamant, he decides to resort to force. He wants to use his talismans to control the guy, so he can do whatever he wants. He surrounds Hyoma with a bunch of talismans, which resorts into a loud explosion. One of the boys goes after Hyoma, believing that he is weak already, but he is shocked when Hyoma kicks him out of the smoke. Taigu himself is shocked, and this is when he realizes that Hyoma is not just a spoiled brat. He might have something tough in him, he thinks. Taigu's daughter, Tsubaki, is watching this from the sidelines, and it seems it is becoming more interesting to her. Hyoma might have survived the talisman explosion, but Taigu is not ready to give up. He wants to throw everything that he has at Hyoma. In no time, Hyoma finds himself surrounded by a bunch of spirit beings that are being controlled by Taigu. Hyoma shows no sign of fear as he gets ready to battle the spirit beings even though they greatly outnumber him. Hyoma wastes no time in jumping into action. He starts knocking around the spirit beings, and with his weapons, the door pulls, he erases them. The door pulls are the legendary weapon of the Kunado family which erases whatever it strikes. With the way Hyoma is moving, Taigu realizes that he underestimated Hyoma. Hyoma is far better than he gave him credit for, and he is about to learn more about the guy's prowess. Moments later, Hyoma takes down the entire bunch of spirit beings sent after him, and he arrogantly asks Taigu if he still has more. Taigu notices that Hyoma is already breathing heavily, and he decides to play with him a little bit longer so he can tire him out, which will give him the chance to stick the guy with a control talisman. Just then, Taigu unleashes another spirit being, but to Hyoma's surprise, this is a being that he knows. The spirit being set to fight Hyoma is Yagen. She is obviously under Taigu's control, and she doesn't hold back in coming after the guy. Because Hyoma has a history of weakness with Yagen, he holds back, giving Yagen the chance to go on the offense. This shows Taigu that Hyoma's stay with the Nagatsuki has made him develop attachments to certain Tsukumogami. While Yagen is trying to kill Hyoma, Hyoma is trying to pull away. Moments later, Hyoma gets the chance to get closer to Yagen. This gives him a chance to use his weapon on her. He strikes the lady in the face, and Taigu assumes that Hyoma has erased her. Taigu throws his talismans at Hyoma, but he grabs them all, and before Taigu knows what is happening, Hyoma has speed blitzed him and his sons. Hyoma holds Taigu in a tight position where he can't escape from, and to make things worse for Taigu, Hyoma has broken Yagen free of her trap. She is now free instead of dead. Hyoma proves himself more than he should, and when Tsubaki realizes that her father wants to push things a bit further, she lets him know that she won't stand by to watch anymore. Tsubaki creates a talisman weapon to show her father just how serious she is. Apparently, Tsubaki has a history with Hyoma's dead siblings too. Tsubaki tells her father that she likes Hyoma, and this forces the old man to back off. Once the battle is over, Taigu reveals that everything that just happened was nothing but a test to see if Hyoma is truly capable of operating in his town. As a bonus, Taigu will be leaving Hyoma to take care of Yagen. Before Tsubaki leaves, she gives Hyoma her contact details, telling the guy to call her. Later that day, Hyoma takes Yagen to the Nagatsuki mansion. He looks beat up and his clothes are shredded. Batan becomes extremely worried when she sees Hyoma. She is scolding Hyoma for hurting himself until Yagen walks into the house. With the way things are looking, Batan wastes no time in assuming that Hyoma and Yagen had something rough together. However, Hyoma tries to clear his name, assuring the lady that Yagen needed help, which is why he brought her to the mansion. The following morning, when Yagen prepares to leave with Hyoma, Haori notices that Botan is worried. To keep her calm, Haori suggests that she follows the two. Hyoma also notices that Botan is worried, and he urges her to go with them so as to clear any form of suspicion of doubt. Before leaving Kyoto, Yagen tells Hyoma that she would like to visit the house where she was once a vessel. She just wants to get a glance at the house to see if it will spark her old memories. After her brief visit, Yagen is escorted to the train station where Hyoma hands her over to one of the Kunato representatives. Before leaving, Yagen urges Hyoma to always protect Botan because she is nothing more than a magnet for the spirit beings, and they will always have their eyes and fangs on her. Later that day, Hyoma and Botan spend the evening by the lakeside. This is when Botan asks the guy why he hates Tsukumogami. Since Hyoma has not told her before, he decides to come clean. Hyoma reveals that he lost his older brother and sister who are twins to a Tsukumogami. This Tsukumogami is a paper umbrella that just gained a physical body back then, but it went on a rampage and ended up unaliving his siblings. The Tsukumogami's laugh when killing Hyoma's family still haunts him, and this is why he will not relent until he finds the paper umbrella and unalive it. Hyoma has always believed that Tsukumogamis are all the same, but his time with the Nagatsuki family has shown him that he is entirely wrong. While the two are having this conversation, Nagi and the others are watching from a distance. Hyoma realizes that no matter the danger that might try to get Botan, she will always have people protecting her.